I guess I'll start by saying thank you for tuning into these episodes. That to me, to know that people are listening to some of the conversations that I'm having about topics that I just feel, we're not really having conversations from both sides from and that are very important. I appreciate you for that. And I appreciate you for, having a willingness and an openness to talk about difficult things, to talk about subjects that we have shied away from for too long, In this episode, we're going to talk about marriage. There's ideas surrounding marriage. And then there's the reality of marriage. And I feel like the reality of marriage is not talked about that often. And I have made many mistakes in my life. And it's through these mistakes that I find education. And I feel like when we make mistakes and we learn from a difficult lesson, it's there for us to share it with others. I mean, that's what makes it beautiful. That's what makes the mistakes I made in my marriage worth it to be able to talk about to other people, to younger people, or to people that are experiencing some of the same similarities that I was in my marriage to help them grow in their life. For me, that's the way I have been able to process it and transmute it into something beautiful is to share it. And I found love in aspects of my life that were very difficult. And surrounding the topic of marriage, I feel like when we're young, we're led to believe in this honeymoon phase, two individuals who have been together for a period of time and are enjoying all of the wonderful qualities that a new relationship can bring. And as time goes on, there's this destination, which is this thing called marriage. And marriage is for a moment because it's one night. It's a business transaction, a legality that happens between two individuals. And to be honest with you, that's what it is. Marriage from a societal standpoint where two individuals relinquish names and materialism. But the reality surrounding marriage, it's love, It's absolute love. Love unconditional and unconditional love. And that's an aspect of marriage that doesn't get a lot of conversation because people's ideas of what love is very different. So if we come from broken homes and we've seen two individuals that never loved each other stay in this thing called marriage for quite some time, even though it was quite apparent that the two individuals didn't love each other, that may be what we view as love in our lives, and that might become acceptable for us in our lives. But I want to bring an awareness to that because the things that we go through in life that we know are not beneficial for other individuals, that information is just there for us to learn from. And love is a big topic surrounding that. Our idea of love and what we witnessed through our parents were never taught what love meant, what self-love meant. Because if we can't love ourselves, we certainly can't love another individual. So have that be the first thing you think about before you get married. Do you love yourself? Are you comfortable speaking your truth to yourself and to others? Because your truth comes before anything else in this life. Because it's all you have. It's what makes your journey, the beautiful journey that you create, is through your truth. The difficulties are when we don't speak our truth. And certainly when we're talking about marriage, if we cannot communicate with the individual we say I love you to, or that we're willing to step up and secure this business transaction with, and we can't talk about how we feel, I think that that's a conversation that you need to have with yourself immediately. Because we all know of red flags in individuals external from us. Mainly individuals that we may create relationships with. But we also have to see red flags within ourselves. It helps us grow. Where we're not speaking our truth or we're not being our true authentic self, especially with people that we love. I mean, we got to take a look at that. That's a red flag for you. That's an opportunity for you to be better. It's an opportunity for you to grow, really. And this is imperative when you're considering marriage or considering a relationship with another individual. And I think, this conversation just isn't for marriage. I mean, this is for anyone who's entering a relationship that may lead to marriage. But marriage is the conversation that we're having because I feel many rush into marriage without asking these questions. And I feel these questions are so important to be asked. And I feel like we know that we're not being authentic or we're not speaking our truth. But because we practice pretending to be somebody we're not, or afraid of speaking our truth or being our true authentic self, that it becomes normal in our lives. And we just dismiss it as not having any value. When really it's the most priceless thing you possess, is your authenticity and your truth. Because that's when another individual gets you for you. And you'll find out real quick if that individual loves you for you or not. Because you are you. You don't have to pretend in a relationship. And you certainly don't have to be afraid to talk to somebody about how you feel. I mean, that's a big thing within relationships. And we have many, many examples of how two individuals spend a lifetime and neither one of them can talk about how they feel. Imagine that. Not being able to talk to the person you lay down at night with every night, or you have children with, about how you feel, the deepest things going on inside of you. I mean, that's your best friend there. That's what marriage is all about, finding that individual and spending a lifetime with them. So in the beginning of this journey, if you feel that you can't speak or communicate your truth and your authenticity with the individual you say I love you to, question that right there. That's a red flag for you, not for them. Because we have to be accountable in this life for the things that we are not proud of or the things that we do not do. And that's wonderful. You know, accountability is such a wonderful thing because, again, it's an opportunity to grow. And the current relationship or the current marriage that you may be in may not be growing with you when you choose to be authentic and speak your truth. And that's okay. It truly is okay because it's an opportunity for you to finally spread your wings. And I think that that's something we need to talk about. Staying inside of a marriage when you know it doesn't serve your highest purpose or your ability to grow to your true authentic self. You've got to look at that. I mean, people make mistakes in this life. Choosing partners is a big mistake that many of us make. And that's okay. We're not taught how to do that. And I made mistakes in my life as well. I never loved myself, but I certainly thought that this woman that I was spending time with was going to teach me about love. And when she couldn't teach me about love, we had a couple of kids because I thought those kids were going to teach me about love. And you know what they did? They taught me an aspect of love. But good Lord, I still didn't love myself. So you know what? I lost all of it. I lost it all because I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the education to communicate about how I was feeling. And I mean, we're talking about things that I was feeling from when I was very young, but they stayed with me. And I chose to distract from that feeling. And I chose to hide from those feelings. So much so that it built up this need to be somewhere I wasn't, which was my home with my family. I needed to be elsewhere, hiding from these feelings I had going on inside of me that I couldn't process. So I used substances to fill that void. Now, some of us use substances, others use food, video games, social media, exercise, pick one. But if you're an individual who's doing that before you get into a relationship or before you get married, have a look at that. Because this individual that you love should be the individual you're able to talk to about anything. And the two of you can go on a journey. Because that's what marriage is. Marriage is the journey between two experiences. Each individual experience is having their own journey in this life, but we choose to come together to be able to share perspectives and encourage one another when one of us is not feeling at our best. And that's beautiful, to understand that, to know that two individuals are going to transform over a lifetime, but grow together, not grow apart. Many do grow apart, but they stay together. And I don't understand that. And I want you to question that in your current relationship because your emotional health comes first. And if speaking your truth and not being authentic is something you practice in your day-to-day life because you've chosen to be with somebody that you don't love, or maybe it's you that you don't love yourself, you've got to question that. Because the journey between two individuals is so beautiful. It really is. And it's not always easy. But even in the difficult moments, it's really beautiful because you have an individual that you can lean on, or you can talk to about things you don't understand, and their perspectives can help change your world. I mean, this is the person you say I love you to. we don't always have to have it figured out in our lives, and we won't. But when we choose to be with somebody for a lifetime or for a set period of time, and we step up to this thing called marriage, that individual's got to be there for you in that way. I mean, if they're showing up with materialism, a big diamond, a big expensive wedding for just one night, question what love means to them and question what love means to you. Because marriage is far more than money. Money is just something that will offer you an experience to see where true love lies. You know, money is really just an obstacle, a challenge that you will face along this journey. And it's quite beautiful when you see money for what it is. It's just a teacher, you know, because often you'll have money in your life and other times you won't. And the real beauty is to see if you two can be emotionally stable through those moments. And that's how you know. That's how you know you're with the right person, is if you can have nothing and still be happy, because that's what love is. You know, it's not about materialism. It's not about how big your diamond is. I mean, good Lord, I know many women that have large diamonds in broken relationships because the value in the ring was worth more than the girl. And that's unfortunate, you know, because somebody wanted to be seen and heard for one night. Marriage is a long time, you know, if it's right, if it works out. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. I mean, we got to talk about that. Staying in a relationship that doesn't work, it's okay to leave that. It's better. I said before that I lost my first wife and my 2 kids. It was beneficial for those children that marriage ended. They knew what was going on. They were caught in the middle of many, many arguments. And the arguments really, if I'm to be accountable, it was centralized around me not being able to love myself. So I couldn't communicate about how I was feeling with the person I said I love you, the person I said I do to, that the kids were caught in the middle of it. And that's very common. We're afraid to let go of things because we think the kids will suffer. Well, I can promise you the kids are suffering far more being in a relationship that does not work, that does not serve the highest purpose of the family, which sometimes having difficult conversations surrounding the understanding of ending that relationship with the children is the best thing for the whole family. It's a wonderful way for something to be able to transmute into something else. It brings the family closer while, you know, in some cases will be further apart. But that bond of honesty and authenticity that can be created before something, you know, ends is a beautiful opportunity for the 2 individuals who know that they are not meant for each other to really do something great for the children, right? That's how you can really do something positive in a marriage that doesn't work for the kids. And the kids aren't dumb. Like, I mean, to think that the kids are dumb these days, like they're not, you know, they're more connected than they've ever been, and they're highly aware, but they have an ability to distract from things that are difficult in their life, especially when that's the relationship between their parents, which 70% of homes these days end in divorce. So it's quite a common conversation to have. You know, I'm going to touch on that. I think we should. The children being caught in the middle of 2 individuals who do not love each other. Leave them out of that, you know. Talking poorly about a father or a mother to the children to try and plant seeds in their mind of the things that these individuals did to one another for leverage, you know, to have the children pick a side is completely detrimental to a child's growth, because a child is removed from anything that's happened between its parents. You know, whatever has happened between 2 parents has happened between 2 parents. Leave the children out of it. Regardless if there was abuse in that relationship, the children know what happened in that relationship. They don't need to be, you know, persuaded to pick a side. That just causes an immense amount of emotional trauma within a child's life. And I realize that blame and victim mentality can get the better of us and take over our cognitive thinking at times, but I hope that we can think of this before we make decisions like that, because, you know, the choices we make during difficult emotional times will affect all of those around us. And that's important to just kind of check yourself in whatever position you're in your marriage, you know? If you're the instigator, or if you are the individual who is taking the majority of the abuse, take a look at your position. Take a look at what part of the situation you can control, because you have control over yourself and you have control over your choices. And you are able to make choices that have consequences that'll benefit everyone or be detrimental to everyone. So I think that, again, accountability is a wonderful mindset to have in regards to how we show up for our marriage and we show up for ourselves. Because those choices that we make during difficult emotional times can really cause a lot of problems. And I've made those mistakes, which is why I talk about them. And they're easy to do. You know, those mistakes are easy to do because we allow things to build up over time because we don't communicate about them. Something small can, you know, turn into something big so quickly, and all we had to do was talk about it. So it's important to remember the power that we have within our own lives can create the reality for those that we spend our lives with. Marriage, the transformation of two individuals over a period of time. That's exactly what it is. So for any of you newlyweds who think this honeymoon phase is going to ride out, let me tell you something. Usually ends after 6 months to a year, you know, because you're going to become new people. And usually we're young when we get married, you know. And we don't have these kind of tools and this kind of knowledge and this kind of education to really know, like, okay, this is a journey with you, you know? And I want you to know, like, it's also a requirement to grow in this life. Like, an evolution of two human beings, a transformation of two human beings over the course of time just means that two individuals are growing. And some stages of growth are difficult, right? So we've just got to be there to support our loved one through whatever they're going through and you know, support ourselves through our personal growth. And those difficult times will become wonderful memories. You know, even though they're difficult, they're wonderful because you grow through them. You make it through together. I mean, that's priceless. That's so priceless. And that to me is what marriage is. Like, the ability to do that. My marriage has not always been easy. You know, I'm very fortunate that I found an individual in my life who could be everything that I never had in this life. There were so many qualities that I saw in this girl that I knew nothing about from all of the choices I had made up until the point of meeting this girl. She possessed, you know, loyalty, trust, honesty, respect, and just, you know, an ability to just emulate this wonderful, beautiful energy without even trying, because it was who she was. And I had no idea what that was. I'd made so many mistakes in my life, and many of us do, and we become disconnected from ourselves that when we see this example, we're confused by it. It's something foreign, you know, and that can be whatever it is to you. But for me, in this case, I saw all of those qualities in someone, and I just was really, I was intrigued. I was very curious as to how this can cultivate along an experience. And I really wanted to be close to it, and I wanted to be a part of it. And even though I was able to secure a relationship with this individual, I still made so many mistakes in this relationship because patterns that were normal to me were not normal inside of a relationship. But because I'd had toxic relationships in the past, I was bringing some of what does not serve me to this relationship. And with her wonderful ability to display patience, she was able to show up for me and allow me to see things on my own terms. She never called me out for anything. She never blamed me or held me in some victim mentality. She never did that. She just made it very clear as to the person I wanted to be, you know, and allowed me to find the answer to that question. And that is an incredible thing when you can do that, because, you know, we don't fight. I don't scream and yell, or like those kind of things don't happen in our relationship. We certainly don't always agree on things, but we have a language, and that language is a love language, and it's an ability to hear each other, like, and respect each other and respect each other's places in time. Like, we have different experiences that have brought us together, and we enjoy each other so much, and we love learning from each other, and it's through that love of learning from each other that we can hear each other and meet each other where we're at. So that's really beautiful, when you're thinking about marriage and you're thinking about the choices you make in this life. It's okay to make mistakes if you talk about things, and I think that I'm grateful for the mistakes I made, because it really allowed me to really let go of an identity that did not serve me. And I'm so grateful for this woman who helped me be the man that I am today. I truly, I would have got there on my own for sure, but how quickly I advanced with her in my life was something that I'll always be extremely grateful for. And now our life together, this journey that we're on, sure, we make mistakes and we have difficult times, absolutely, but we grow so quickly through them because we have a love language and we understand each other so well. And it's because we were able to communicate about things. Not so much in the beginning, I'll be honest with you. It took me, 3 years to get through this identity that does not serve me. And that's just patterns and behaviors from toxic relationships that I found acceptable to be present in this one. And it's important to talk about that, because when we're, growing into this new individual, or when we're making choices to be our highest self, there are patterns and behaviors that we will have to undo over time, and they don't go away overnight. But being open about talking about those things and showing somebody your true authentic self will have them see you and meet you where you're at. I mean, how beautiful is that? Even if you're in a new relationship and you're able to not put somebody in blame or victim mentality, but just really be accountable for the space that you put yourself in to practice these behaviors that are abnormal in a loving relationship. I mean, that's a power. That is so beautiful. When you can be accountable and show up for yourself like that, because it allows you to move through something, and it really allows you to become self-aware. And when we're self-aware, we're able to see where our thoughts are and where our behaviors are, and share that with another individual to gain perspective, to grow. That's everything that I do in my life, is just talk about these kind of things, because I think it's the true value in life, to be authentic, to be truthful, to let people know we don't have it all figured out. Like, I'm going to make mistakes in this life, and I'm okay to say that. Even relationships, even in love, and that's okay. And I really want you to know that if a relationship ends and you're holding on to that relationship and you can't let it go, I want you to take a look at it from a different angle. This is an opportunity for you to grow. If there's infidelity within relationships, there is, absolutely. And it can be absolutely detrimental to the other party, the other individual involved in the relationship that was not in a position to cheat. That's a gift. That's a gift. When somebody has shown you that you are not the individual for them and they've created another relationship with somebody else, let that individual go. And even if that means you've built up 10, 15 years with this individual, you may have children, it's a gift. If somebody is investing time with someone else and that time is no longer with you, that's a gift. That's an opportunity for you to grow. Of course it hurts. Absolutely. We move through the feelings for sure, because the feelings are all valid. But the processing and letting go of what does not serve you is a beautiful part of it, because it's a chance for you to get to know you again. It's a chance for self-love and self-care to grow within an individual, because an opportunity has presented itself for you to be free of something that was not authentic for you. So it's just a way for you to see how to let go of a relationship, because many people hold on to it because they feel that this individual was their one and only, or this person had all of the qualities that they wanted. But what we want is not always what we need. So I want you to remember that along this journey. Everything happens for a reason. And in relationships, when a relationship doesn't work out, it's for a reason. It may be an opportunity for us to look at ourselves and see areas in our life where we can be better, where we can be accountable, or it may be an opportunity for us to see our partner's true authentic self and see how that does not serve us. Everything is an opportunity to grow. So whether you're in a loving marriage or whether you're stepping up to get married, it's all an opportunity to grow. If a relationship is dismantling or you've been in a relationship that is not working anymore, everything is an opportunity to grow. Because this human experience is just that. It's just here to teach us about ourselves and about the people around us. But more so, it's always to guide us back to love. And when we can find love in difficult situations, that's when you're really going to grow. Because that's how we arrive back to self-love and self-care. And that to me is what matters in this life, is the ability to love ourselves and care for ourselves. Because when we can do that, we can care for those around us and we can love those around us. And that's usually done through making an immense amount of mistakes. So don't hold yourself down for that. There's no time for that. There's no time for self-sabotage, right? There's a long journey ahead of you. And there's 8 billion people on the planet. So there's someone for everyone. You just got to put yourself out there and make connections and make mistakes. Just be authentic and really seek that of which is seeking you, which is love. Yeah. I'm doing this podcast at night, which is totally different. I don't know why I just felt the need to say that, but I did. So I just, changing things up in my life too, like things are always changing, always evolving, and I'm okay with that. But I'm really grateful to be, secure in my relationship these days, because I'm secure in myself, and I really want to share with you how important that is to have that and to find that in your life. So I'm going to leave you with that. Please message me if you have any questions surrounding relationships, or, just personal growth, self-love and self-care. If that's something that you're interested in, please message me. I want to help anyone who is looking to grow. And it's an immense amount of work and it's difficult. But if it's going to help you make good choices in your life, this is what I'm here for. My social media is Real Talk for an Unreal World. That's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And basically for my social medias, if you can like and subscribe to them, it just helps me get this message out to more people. And I cut up the podcast clips into 1 minute, 30-second clips, and I put them up throughout the week just to give people something to think about, just a little bit of a reminder without listening to the full episode. So that's what I do with those. My Twitter is RealTalk4 Unreal. I don't even know why I say that anymore, because I really don't use it, because I think it's friggin' ridiculous to be stuck on social media all the time. I've said this before, I'll say it again. It's very difficult for me. It's just like waste of time, really. But I get it. Like, people are looking for things on there, and they're, some people are growing through these avenues. So it's a requirement in this life. I choose the present moment over getting lost in these places, but it does help me get the message out. So I just don't use Twitter. I just think Twitter's not cool. For me anyways. My email is realtalkforanunrealworld@gmail.com. Again, that's the place you can message me and we can have conversations, whatever you like, as long as you're on the journey to grow and you're willing to put some work into yourself. That's the individuals that I'm stepping up for these days. And just much love for your practice, much love for your awareness. The awareness is what allows us to create our reality. And it's when we are closed off from the world and closed off from ourselves that we just kind of go on autopilot. And then we wake up one day and we're with someone we don't love, and we have a couple of kids and we don't even know them because we don't even know ourselves. So that's why I do this, is to bring an awareness to the power that we have within ourselves and how we can change our reality at any given stage along the experience. So please don't think you have to have it all figured out, because I wasn't 36 until I even began to figure some of these things out. So much love for listening and much love for being here.